Is that me on? Is that me on? What an embarrassment. What an absolute embarrassment. That is the biggest beamer that I have ever had on YouTube. Wow. End the show. End the show. Can you I made a right dick of this. You can say that again. Well, you know what? That's the beauty of live entertainment. Oh, I'm hitting a ready, man. That's the beauty of live entertainment. You know, I should really have checked if the microphone was on or not. I didn't do the pre-checks. I just presumed everything was working fine. I normally check it every single time. And right there, I have made an absolute dick of myself. Professionalism at its finest, as always, here on the I'm118 channel. You wouldn't get this anywhere else. So basically, yeah, hello, welcome along another one of these live shows. I'll basically repeat what I said to you there a moment ago while the microphone was off. I'm getting used to these now. A way to kind of change it up the summer. When there's not a lot to talk about, we can get you guys involved. We can have some live comments. We can talk about everything. And we're here basically just to react to everything that's been going on in the past 24 hours, all the news and speculation, the rumours that have been floating around the internet in regards to Celtic and their transfer pursuits. So we've got a few things to cover tonight before we get on to the kind of Q&A segment of the show. So stick around, you guys will get your chance to kind of dictate which direction the show goes. But let's ignore that mishap from the start of the episode, shall we? Thank you to everybody who's joined in so far. You're right, John. Hello, though. Nice to see you. Yes, new glasses will be needed. Musa Top is like, yes. So quickly, I would just like to say, before we start the streaming, before we start talking about Celtic, massive shout out, and I'll put a link in the description that you can go back and check if you're interested in a shirt framing service. Thank you to Jordan Murphy, Murphy's Frames, I believe, on Instagram. You can go and check him out if you've got any shirts you would like framed. Really quick, really reliable, and really cheap service. You know, shirt framing can cost an arm and a leg, and it was my mate who, you know, kind of passed me on to him. Fantastic stuff. Cheapest shirt framing service I've seen, and it's great quality. So I'm glad to have it back on the wall. Big thank you to Jordan. I appreciate it. So if you could go and follow his page on Instagram, I think he's just kind of starting out just now. So any follow would be appreciated for him. But the Musa top is back. It's pride in place. And yes, fresh Fred as well. Everybody picking up on these new things. So yeah, it's been a busy 24 hours. Let's jump into it. You've got 250 viewers almost on the stream now, so they don't want to hear me chat absolute nonsense. You know, it's been a big 24 hours. We've heard news in relation to Cameron Carter-Vickers and Jota. We've heard news linking us with new players, and we've also seen a lot of people kind of leaving the club, leaving Celtic, and kind of talk on certain players' futures at Celtic Football Club. So it's been really busy, and I'm just kind of getting a chance to sit down and react to it all now. I would like to start off the stream with talking about Carter-Vickers and Jota, because at this point, the updates are just really the same, I feel, all the time. My opinion hasn't changed, and nothing dramatic has happened, I think, to change the situation of any of the two players. I get asked every day on Twitter what is happening with them, as if I'll have some kind of behind-the-scenes information, or I'm in the know and I have any leaks or anything. No, I don't know anything more than you guys. I would never lie. I would never come on here and make up a lie saying, oh yes, the contract will be signed next week or whatever. It very well could be. But I know as much as you at this moment in time. However, I still remain very confident. There's nothing to suggest there, I think, that it won't happen. I remain very confident that both players will end up being Celtic players in the very near future, whether it be this week coming, the week after that. I think we will see both players signed for the club. Now, the big one, Jota, that's how we've had the biggest update. There was talk in the Daily Record this morning, or yesterday maybe, that the deal is effectively done. There's only one more hurdle, and that hurdle being the contract length and the wage that Jota will be getting. Now, if Celtic have any brains, they will pay him whatever they want. I'm not too sure what they're looking at contract length-wise. You would imagine Celtic want to tie Jota down to a 4 or 5 year deal, something around those kind of numbers. I don't know what you can kind of presume with wages, but I think we're looking at realistically a 4 or a 5 year contract to be offered to Jota. Whether or not Jota wants to sign a contract at that length, that's a different story. So we'll just need to wait and see if that is the hurdle that the Daily Record have called it. Now, it might not be a hurdle at all. It might be all agreed and it just has to be signed. So, you know, don't read too much into the wordplay in the tabloids. It might not mean much at all, so we'll wait and see what happens. But I'm hoping that they're right in saying that the deal is effectively done. And I do remain confident that it is nearly done. I think we will see them signed very soon. Now, Cameron Carter-Vickers, that's another one that is interesting. Now, we've not had too much of an update on whereabouts the situation is. That is the last thing that was said, and we spoke about this on the podcast the other night. The last sort of update was from Cameron Carter-Vickers himself, who had an interview with a news publication. He spoke about his desire to play football, and it sounded like a very much come and get me message to Celtic. You know, it sounded like, I know where I want to be, I know what I want to happen, it's just a matter of getting it done and over the line. Celtic were also given, I think, a 2-week extension to finish off the deal between the club and Cameron Carter-Vickers to bring him to Celtic before anyone else can kind of go over and try and sign him. So I think Celtic, once again, very poised in a good position to sign both players. And this is one of the reasons as well why I believe, and I'm going to put this on screen now, this is one of the reasons I do believe that we should remain confident and that it will happen. If I just get my screen to share on the right page here. Celtic posted this today on their Twitter and their Instagram, their social medias, and I imagine it was probably on Facebook and such as well. And I wouldn't read too much into it. It's not exactly the confirmation that we're waiting for, but Celtic put up a post: more Celts on international duty tonight. Good luck, boys, including photos of Carl Starfelt, Georgios Giakoumakis and Cameron Carter-Vickers. Now, of course, technically, Cameron Carter-Vickers is still a Celt at this moment in time. He's not returned to Tottenham yet, but putting up posts like that is very encouraging. Including Cameron Carter-Vickers is very encouraging. It's a small, minute, very sort of obscure thing, and as I said, it doesn't mean much at all, but when you see posts like that, and you see things like that, it makes me more and more confident that we will actually see the player sign for the club. So it's not the big announcement we're waiting on, but it's something. And we'll wait and see what happens. But right now, the only indications and the only kind of updates that I have that I can share with you and talk to you about are the same that we all know. The ones that are in the tabloids, the ones that are everywhere else. But I do believe that both players will eventually join the club. I think that they will be here, and hopefully it's this week. I'm very much hoping. Good vibes, Jota and CCV. Fingers crossed. So yeah, you know, I mean, that's exactly it. Fingers crossed. Kevin hitting the nail on the head. But there you go. That was the post that Celtic put on their social medias today. Nice to see people still packing into the live chat. We'll come on to that very soon. The second big story, and maybe the biggest one, is that Celtic look as though they're poised to sign their first player in the summer transfer window, and that being Christopher Scott, currently who plays with Bayern Munich over in well, actually doesn't play with anyone anymore. I believe that his contract has come to an end at Bayern Munich. I don't know if they've exercised the 1-year extension fee, but Celtic look as though they're going to sign him for that development fee price, the £250,000 that comes with signing young players. It looks as though Celtic are going to exercise that, and apparently, according to reports from his, not his home country, because his home country is Germany. He's a German international, but he's also eligible to play for Ghana. I believe he's got Ghanaian sort of heritage, and I don't know if his father or his mother's maybe from Ghana, but anyway, reports from the country of Ghana suggesting that a deal is almost done with Christopher Scott to bring him to Celtic. Now, of course, we spoke about Christopher Scott a few weeks ago on the channel when his name was first linked with Celtic, and I spoke very highly of Christopher. I said how much I would like us to sign Christopher, and I'm glad that is us apparently going to sign him. I think it would be a great pickup, someone who's played with one of the best youth setups in world football. He's had a very successful time playing for the Bayern Munich second team in the fourth tier of German football. And of course, that's obviously you want to sign players who are playing at the top level. But, you know, Christopher Scott, I think, is someone who, according to all German reports and all German journalists and lower league fans, is someone who's had a lot of potential and someone who, quite rightly, should have probably had a chance in amongst the Bayern senior team at various points over the last year or so. But, you know, you're ultimately playing with a Bayern Munich side who are littered with talent in the midfield area. There's so many good players who play in the central midfield. Right away, you look at the starting 11, you've got guys like Joshua Kimmich, you've got guys like Leon Goretzka and Corentin Tolisso. You've got guys like that. It's really difficult to get into that team. So he's not been able to kind of find his way into the place that he'd want to be. But that is our benefit, because I believe we are signing a very, very talented player, and I'm looking forward to welcoming him to Celtic. You know me, I'm a big fan of German football, big fan of the German internationals as well, so to have one at Celtic will be very, very nice. Whether or not, I think he still has an option to choose to play for Ghana right enough, but right now he's a German youth product. And one that I'm very excited to see at Celtic if he does sign. Now, he was someone that as soon as Tom Rogic announced that he was leaving the club, I thought to myself, there we go, that's a good replacement for Tom Rogic. I don't think by any means they are like-by-like players. I think you're going to see a lot of qualities that are some similar, but a lot different in both players. But he's certainly someone who can come in and fill that sort of role that Tom Rogic has in the team. That central midfielder who likes to get forward. He attacks the game a lot. He gets himself into situations. He really gets involved with the end product, the final third of the game. And that's what Tom Rogic brought to the team. So I think it's a kind of perfect replacement, someone to bring in with youth, with a bit of, a slight bit of pedigree behind him. Of course, we're not going out there and signing a well-established name from the Bundesliga, but you're signing someone who has had a really good youth career with the German champions, the biggest side in Germany, biggest in Europe maybe. He's always been highly spoke of amongst the media over there. So you're signing a player who I think is going to be fantastic for us in so many different ways. Now I hope it works out and it's not another flop when I rant and rave about someone, but it would be really nice to see that kind of work well. So Celtic are apparently in there looking to close the deal. It was the Ghana Soccer Net that reported that apparently Celtic are closest with an Austrian side, Klagenfurt. They were reportedly interested, but Celtic have apparently won the race. That was the language used by the tabloids. Now, we did speak about them very, very briefly, and I will come on to the live chat, don't you guys worry. We did speak very briefly, and I gave an overview, and I gave all the stats and such, and I should have probably kept the graphics from that occasion, but I didn't. I deleted them. So I panicked last minute, and I didn't have any graphics to use when it came to this. So we're going to have to do the old-fashioned share screen, and we're going to just go into transfer marked to have a little look at the player for people who don't maybe know so much about him. Here he is, here, 19 years old. German international, as we said, he's been capped 3 times for the under-20s Germany side, so obviously someone that is in with a great quality of player in that under-20 setup. He's played for as you can see on the right hand side of the screen, he's played for the unders in the national team all through his kind of his career from under-15s level to under-20s. This season, 24 appearances, 7 goals, 6 assists, a really good return, despite the fact, as we said, he is playing in the Regionalliga down in Bavaria and all those sort of areas. I think that region covers that they play in. So yeah, there you go. That's his stats from this season: 24, 7 and 6 to the goal contributions. He's played a decent bit of football. I think he's been involved in the bench a couple of times throughout his career at Bayern, but as I said, he's never really had that big breakthrough that he would like. There you go, throughout his career, 116 games, 44 goals, 17 assists, and if you've watched the kind of packages put together on Twitter, the kind of compilations of the guy in his games, he is someone who can score goals. He is someone who's going to bring that sort of threat from the attacking midfielder role. He's powerful, he's quick, he's got all these attributes that will make him a really good player in Scotland. He'll be really good for this division, I would say. I think that he'll be very good. Now, the other thing is as well, how good will this guy be for European football? Well, I do think that will be a really good signing. I think he's someone who will be ready to step in, and despite never playing in European football, he will be a rookie in that aspect of things. I think he's at a club that have probably well prepared him for that. You're talking about Bayern Munich, 5-time winners of the European Cup / Champions League, one of the most successful sides and a winning side. They're serial winners all through the system at Bayern. We're bringing in someone that knows and likes to win, knows what it's like to win, and that's one of the most important things. So I'm very excited about that. Hopefully there's more development on that. Hopefully there's more news that comes out about Christopher Scott. I believe he would be a very, very big signing. So yeah, Christopher Scott, he came from, well, as you just seen on the screen there, he's been playing for the Bayern youth system for the last few years. I think he came through, as you've seen there as well, Bayer Leverkusen's youth system as well. Another successful, another very good youth system over in Germany. So 2 players that look very good. So yeah, let's take in some. That's basically everything news-wise that I have to cover. 15 minutes, well, 2 minutes of it being me talking into a microphone that wasn't on just about, but mostly everything covered. So I guess we can now hand the floor over to you guys. You just can dictate what I talk about for the remaining 10-15 minutes of tonight's live stream. I hope everyone's had a great weekend. I hope everybody's doing well. That's one thing I didn't say at the top of the stream. So I hope you're all doing well. Here's a weird question to start us off. Would you rather Jota back but Lennon is the manager, or Rodgers but Johnson is the striker? What Johnson are we talking about here? Like Boris Johnson, Adam Johnson, Jimmy Johnston? Like, what Johnson are we talking? I don't know what. I would love Rodgers back as manager, but I don't really fancy the likes of Neil Lennon back. To be fair, comment here from Catering's Finest. Celtic could be looking at some serious profit. Apparently, Club has been interested in Barkas as well, so we could actually sell him on. Serious profit, of course, with Christopher Scott. That's the thing. Sell on value. We bring this guy in, we give him first team football. He turns out to be a really good player. Next thing you know, clubs in Germany, like they did with Frimpong, are calling, or clubs in England are calling, and you could be making upwards of £10 million, and a guy we spent £250,000 for. We've done the exact same thing with Moussa Dembele. We signed him for the £250,000 development fee. We ended up selling him for almost about £20 million. That's 20 million quid profit in the bank, and of course that doesn't see my pocket, so I'm not really caring as long as they play well at football. But it's always nice to see wheeling and dealing, and Barkas, of course. That's one thing that we should maybe talk about then, because Luca Connell, for example, has left the club and brought up by Josh. A few other players, I think, contracts have expired and they're moving on. We've seen the likes of Barkas, he could be off. It's one of those ones, isn't it? Like, you expected to see, I think, a lot of people leave the club. I done a video last week on the channel, and it was the tier list, and we kind of examined who should stay, who should go, and there was a sizable amount of players who just were not of any use to Celtic and really didn't have a place in our squad. Luca Connell, for example, was one of them. He just wasn't good enough to make the grade, and I suppose a lot of people will say, well, we never got that opportunity. We never got to see him. He might have had that chance, that talent. Listen, he was at Queen's Park, and in recent times, they hadn't been too great at Queen's Park. If he can't do it in League One with them, I really struggle to believe that he's going to do it in the Premiership with Celtic. So a lot of people gutted to see him go, and I'm gutted to see anybody being released from Celtic. I'd like to see every player come through and do a job at the club. It's at the end of the day, it's a career and everything else. But if he's just not good enough, you've got to cut the dead wood. And sadly, he was part of the deadwood. As with a lot of players who are now leaving the club, it's just the nature of football, I'm afraid. I just don't think he would have ever got a chance at Celtic, really. Luca Connell, and for the better of his career, it's probably ready for him to move on. Let's see what else is being said. Alistair Jack in the comments, nice to see you, Alistair, the St. Pauli goalkeeper, Ryan. I've heard nothing, really. This was something that was brought up to me by Ryan McGinley today from the podcast. I couldn't tell you anything. I don't know if it's a Kerry Dale rumour. Ryan loves the forums. He loves the forums. He's on them all the time. I don't know how he can be asked to it, because I think it's utter mince off of them. But, I mean, anyway. I don't know. I would like us to go and sign another keeper. Someone who is probably a bit younger than Joe Hart, maybe ready to fill those shoes when he decides to leave, or when he comes to a point in his career he's not playing as much. I hope that's not any time soon. I hope Joe keeps playing for us. But I think we need better options than Bain and Barkas off the bench. So, if Joe Hart goes down with an injury, which is very possible, you would like to see someone else be able to come on that isn't Scott Bain, in my opinion. So, I don't know much about the St. Pauli goalkeeper, to be quite honest. I don't watch as much of the Zweite Bundesliga as I'd like to. I'd maybe like to watch more of that. So I couldn't tell you too much, but I'm not going to sit here and lie. Right now I'm happy with Joe as our main keeper, but I think that, I'm seeing someone say we need a solid number 2. I think so as well. We need another goalkeeper, I think. Sorrow has been linked with Lenny. That's right, apparently Lennon with Nicosia. No, it's not Nicosia, my bad. What is it, Nicosia? I can't remember now. Ammonia, whatever they're called. Is it Ammonia Nicosia? Is that what the team's called? I think it's something like that. Apparently interested in bringing Sorrow. I mean, I'd happily give him Sorrow, to be quite honest. I mean, he's not, once again, he's part of that dead wood category, I think. Now, here's a big question from James, and I like this question. Do you agree with Scott Robertson saying he's good enough to play for Celtic? Listen, there's nothing wrong with saying that he thinks he's good enough to play for Celtic. If you don't have that belief in yourself, what's the point? You know what I mean? You've got to believe in yourself as a football player, first of all. You've got to be confident. And that's in every aspect of life, really. What would be the point in me coming on YouTube if I didn't think I was good at YouTube? But what would be the point in Scott Robertson playing football if he didn't think he was good enough? He's looked at Tony Ralston and he made that comparison, how he got into the team with a year left on his contract and he made the most of it. Can Scott Robertson duplicate that? Can he replicate that? I don't think so. I'm going to be bluntly honest in saying I don't think he'll get that chance. I think that we're littered with that much talent in the midfield. It's going to be hard for Scott Robertson to get in. It's not the same as when Ralston took that opportunity and ran with it. Ralston got in because we hadn't signed the right back. We were very thin on the ground and we just needed him to play. he was their only option, really. And he took it and he ran with it and he's done so well. I don't think that opportunity will be so kind to Scott Robertson. But he's got every right to believe in himself. Absolutely. I think he's got every right to. So I would like to see it work out for him. If there's a possibility of it working out for him, I'd love to see that. I don't have as high hopes that it will. But hopefully it does. I could maybe see him maybe just going out on loan and seeing out the rest of his contract, to be honest. Maybe. But I would like it to go well for him. I really would like it to go well for him. And that's it. Dean McDonald making a really good... I'd be more concerned if he didn't think it was good enough. Why would you pay someone's wages if he didn't believe in himself to play for Celtic, you know? Especially when you're a youngster and you're trying your best to make it through the team and get into the system. I mean, here we go. Here's Josh making a comment. If Connell isn't good enough, I worry for guys like Robertson. The only thing he has over him is homegrown. And yeah, that's as well. You know, a lot of these guys were sending out on loan. They aren't playing at really high levels. If you look at Scott Robertson's host of loan deals, have been clubs in the League One, Crewe Alexandra most recently, I think. And they're not exactly the level of Celtic. So it's not exactly great for trying to work your way into the team when you haven't. And I don't think his last loan move was too good. So it makes me worry a little bit. And that's why I'm saying I'm not as confident something will happen. But he's got every right to believe, I think. And we have to have an X amount of homegrown players, of course, Kevin. That's a very good point. Karamoko is away, as far as we understand. There was nothing to suggest that he'd be given a contract extension at the club. So I think it looks as though Dembele's away, but once again, for as much potential as there was there, we have to look at things very cynically. We need to look at things realistically. And he wasn't going to get in the team. He was streets away from Lee Alabada. And Lee Alabada's only a year older. So it just wasn't going to happen for Karamoko. We have to cut that sort of dead wood. And he's just, what's the point in holding someone back? If he goes somewhere and he plays really well and he makes a name for himself and we miss out, fair enough. But we've done the only thing we can really do at this point in time, I believe. So Liam Morrison, I seen this today. His contract runs out with Bayern next month. Would you have him back at Celtic? Now, I know that the question is, would I have him back? But I think John McGinley of 67 Hail, shout out to John. I think he was in the replies of a tweet earlier saying that he's expected to stay on another year with Bayern at the end of his contract. He's got a year extension opportunity. So he probably won't leave Bayern. He'll probably stay with them for another year. Would I have him back at Celtic? Yeah, I mean, if Ange and the scouting team think he's good enough, then yes. Once again, I'm not going to sit and pretend that I've seen him play a whole lot of football because I don't watch the the fourth tier of German football. I don't watch the youth product of German football, so I don't really know how he's been playing. But he's been over, he's been working really hard. He's been playing with, once again, a very good unit like Christopher Scott. So I mean, it might not be the worst idea, but we'll wait and see. Donation from Noah. Thank you very much, Noah, for your 179 donation. What was your favourite chant last season? I've started loving the Giacomakis chant, you know. I love it. The Giacomakis comes for Greece, and when he plays, he scores with ease. Cameras cut off as I start singing. That's for your benefit. But yeah, I like that one. That was maybe one up there with one of my favourites. We were blessed with a lot of really good chants last season. That was one of them. So yeah, I like that one. But thank you for the donation, Noah. That is much appreciated. I think we need CCV is literally one of the main reasons we had the best defence in the league. Absolutely. Yep. I didn't catch the start of the stream. Was it Christopher Scott you were talking about as the first summer sign? It looks class. Yes, Cuffin Boy, it was. And you can rewatch it once the stream is over if you want to hear my opinion, the updates, blah, blah, blah. Will be done in the next sort of 5 minutes, so you can go back and watch that. Not sure if you've seen it, Ryan, but there's rumours in the Daily Express that we're linked with Connor Barron at Aberdeen. Wonder if there's any connection to the Scales rumours, of course. So let's touch on Scales. There's rumours that he could be going to Aberdeen on loan. I think it would be smart for him to get a bit of football in his legs, to play some first team minutes. So I would be up for seeing him go on loan to the side. But I've not seen the rumours about Connor Barron. That's the first I've heard of that. I've not read the Express today. My dad is an avid reader of the Express because he likes to read about the opposition. So yeah, I've not had a look at it, so I'll have to have a look. But there you go, there's another rumour. There's a lot just now, and this is the thing. Let's just very quickly throw out a disclaimer. It's that point in the season. I brought this up in numerous Celtic transfer talks already this year. Just take everything with a pinch of salt, no matter who's telling you. even the papers, they will put anything in there to get buys and purchases, and I'll happily use the same ones to get views later in the day, reacting to it and such. But you know, just take everything with a pinch of salt. You know, I don't think there's a point in getting all hopes up and stuff about things unless we know that the ink is on the paper. So, did Celtic make a mistake by hiring Ange and not appointing Scott Brown? What? Excuse me? That a real comment? I don't think so, mate. I don't think so. I think that we made a good decision, to be quite honest. Not that guy Ange, what's he like? It's been alright. He's been alright. There was another comment I wanted to bring up. What's the football top? That was it, Liam. This is it was a special collection, so it's Manchester United. It was a special collection from Pharrell Williams, and they'd done a few tops 2 seasons ago now, the lockdown season, and it's like takes on some retro shirts, but it's like different art design. It's like it's been drawn almost. That's why the badge looks like that, and rather than a full-on Man U badge. But I love this shirt, love it a lot. I think they made them for like United, Arsenal, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Juventus, and someone else. All the major sort of 6 clubs for Adidas. Thank you very much, Mark. It's very much appreciated. Glad to get some Celtic content to tune into. Good evening to you too, Stephen. It's good. It's been a slow week, hasn't it? It's been hard to actually get some videos made and such. And yeah, this was one I was going to touch on as well. Another Argentinian left back we've been linked with. Off the top of my head, the name has escaped me. We'll probably talk a bit more about that tomorrow in an actual video format. So keep listening to the channel, tune in, and we'll get all of that looked at. My dream Champions League group, I feel like I've been asked that question all week. And I'm sticking to Frankfurt, Chelsea, and I think I said Salzburg from pot 3. That's mine. I don't think there is a dream, to be honest. They're all tough groups. Some teams you'd like to avoid more than others. Thoughts in Barcelona want to sign Gary Hooper for £30 million. Bargain. Absolute bargain. 30 million. And yeah, do you know what? I think that's us coming up for the half-hour mark, so I'm going to leave the stream off there for this evening. We're over 400 live viewers tonight. That's tremendous effort, guys. Thank you very much. The video will be up. And if you enjoy these, of course, we'll be doing them all more often through the summer. So make sure to stay in tune with the channel by liking, by subscribing, and everything else. It is much appreciated. So yeah, thank you all for tuning in this evening. I hope I've gave you everything that you sort of need. And we'll be back on the channel tomorrow with a video. Second channel's obviously started up a little bit more as well. So yeah. Okay, it's roasting in here, so I'm going to tune off.